This video is part of a series of self-help videos for potential industrial machinery entrepreneurs. I have run my own industrial machinery rehab business for 37 years. The overriding truth in buying equipment to resell is the following. If you buy it cheap enough, you will always make a profit when you sell it. Your first requirement is to buy and store the used machines that you will refurbish and resell. Building a saleable inventory is critical. You can't sell from an empty store. Some places to find good inventory are eBay, Craigslist, previous customers, industrial auctions, etc. Also, suggest trade-ins to potential customers. Used machinery dealers are usually not a good place to buy your inventory units. Their prices are unrealistic since you would be buying at retail. I know it's not exactly retail, but the dealer has already added part of what would be your profit to his price. You need to buy direct from the processor if you can. Now you got to you're assessing the potential machines that you're going to look at. So this is kind of important. So when you find something that looks like a good machine to buy, you need to first assess it. So you get photos, its model number, its condition, its dimensions, its shipping weight, the age, etc. Then you need to negotiate well. The seller will always ask an outrageous price. Ignore what he offers for the first time. Almost always, they got that dollar amount from someone else who doesn't know anything either. Here is an example. If a seller suggests the original price is $7,000, you explain, usually in an email or a text, that you are a reseller and need to make a profit, and that unit is old, looks beat, and you don't know if it runs. You tell him you will pay the freight if he can put it on a pallet, strap it down securely, and has a forklift or a loading dock to get it on a standard freight truck. Then you offer him $950. He will moan and groan and cry and say, "No way." Ask what his best price is. He will say something like $4,500. You say, "There's no profit for me at that price." You offer $1,250. The final price will usually be, in that case, about $1,600. Somebody's calling me and wants me to buy a machine. When you sell that unit after rehab, you should get about $9,300 for that $1,600 machine. Your cost would be freight, or let's say $500. Parts, let's say $850. Labor, let's say $1,000. Overhead, $150. So that's $4,150 off of $9,300, or $5,150 net profit. Not bad on one sale. To buy used machines sight unseen, as I do, is a gamble. Get photos first and ask questions, but even so, you will sometimes get unsaleable units. Buy only at the very lowest price, as I do, so getting junky units doesn't hurt so much. Those dead-on-arrival units could become parts donors. You'll also get pristine, easy-to-sell units at good prices sometimes, so it all works out. Now, keeping up with the machine improvements. Like most technical things, industrial machines are often improved with better controls, ergonomic changes, better environmental changes, etc. Think iPhones. I try to buy and have in inventory at least some of the newer versions of vapor degreasers. Those new type models aren't often for sale in the secondary used market, and they will cost you a lot more. But you need to be as up-to-date as you can be. In this rehab niche, there will be many different specifications, varieties, versions of your machine or piece of equipment. In my business, vapor degreasers, there are many differences, like tank sizes, interior and exterior length, width and depth, electric power, 115 volts single phase, 230 volts three phase, 230 volts one phase, 460 volts three phase, etc. One sump or two sumps, ultrasonic or not, etc. That means that your customers will be asking for rehab units with many different specifications. You will need to have what they want in stock, either already rehabbed or that need to be rehabbed. That means you need to find used units that have been put out to pasture, sitting in warehouses, factory back rooms, and garages, sometimes even in a field. Okay, now we're going to get haggling. Now, haggling and negotiating are the same thing. As I talked about previously, you need to build up your machinery inventory, so you need to buy used units. That means negotiation or haggling. Haggling is psychological warfare, no doubt about it. Make a slip and you pay too much or receive too little for the stuff you're dickering over. Well, there are some unwritten rules to haggling, which a lot of people know, and then there are some dirty tricks which are only known to a few. Most everybody who's any good at haggling knows these rules. Now, the first one, play hard to get. If a seller can tell that you are in love with an item, then he knows he can get his top price. Instead, pretend to be mildly but not intensely interested in the machine you're considering. Don't fall in love and come back 3 or 4 times in the course of a day to discuss it. This shows the seller that you're serious about the item, and it also shows him that he can take you for a pretty close to the sticker price. Now, the second one. If you make a buying offer, that offer stands unless a counteroffer is made. Some uneducated customers will suggest a price, and if you accept, they will renege and offer a higher price. That's when you should just walk away. If a seller accepts my offer, he better be prepared to close the deal. This would be my second big gripe about haggling with the uninitiated. A seller might call or email many times to discuss a machine. Finally, he will accept my offer. So I move to close and make payment arrangements. And he will say something like, maybe next Wednesday? To avoid that, before you make the lower offer, ask if they are willing and able to accept my lower offer. If they agree, then make the offer. Don't make the offer unless you know the guy's got the shekels. All right, the third one. Never show your whole hand at once. If you're willing to pay $1,500 for a piece of equipment, for example, offer $900 or even $600. You never know if the other guy might take it. Even if he passes or counter-offers, he'll feel like some progress is being made. Sellers never give you their lowest price right off the bat, unless they're desperate. Making a firm but lower offer and sticking to it works. Now the fourth one. Buyers. Another idea if you and the seller can't quite come together on the price of a machine. Ask him if he's got anything to throw into the deal. You might get a piece of equipment that makes the deal even sweeter. So, now we're at the fifth one, I guess. There are certain things you can do that boost your profit or drop your buying price by taking advantage of the other person's weaknesses. These strategies might be considered a little unethical, so handle it in your own way. I suggest being kind, but businesslike also. You need to know how desperate the other party is. One of the first things you should be asking is, why are you selling? If the answer is, I need the money, then you will have an easy deal probably. He's just admitted to you that he's desperate to sell. When someone admits that he's desperate, he also admits that he will take a much lower price for what he's got for sale. And the sixth one, try to find lots of fault with whatever he's got for sale. Let me put that another way. Nobody likes to hear criticisms or have their stuff criticized. So be polite, but point out flaws in the unit. If it's beat and rusty or falling apart, let them know. If the same item goes for a lesser price usually, let them know. If the item is obsolete, let them know. The fact that few people really know what they've got or what it's worth. They know what they paid for it, instinctively they think they want to get about a half that price. They probably haven't done any research. Sometimes a seller thinks his stuff is gold. Thank him and politely decline. And 7, sellers, always mark your items up about 20% or so more than you're willing to take. That way, you can appear to give a little, quote unquote, while not sacrificing your bottom line. And 8, I think, whether you're the buyer or the seller, don't trust anyone. One of my favorite sayings is one I stole from an automotive dealer. How do you know when a customer is lying? When his lips are moving.